So this whopping great lump is the driver's door or emergency exit for the front. Goes in here with a little step down there, as you can see. So steel frame, box section frame. Looks like there's a steel plate skin at which the alley of the outside is wrapped around. That's obviously parted company with this. I don't know whether it's welded or screwed or what, but you can see it's sort of blistering away. Hinges, they're good, so we can keep them. I don't have any corresponding hinges on here. They've all been removed, but it's good to see the actual way these are constructed, as I mentioned. So it's basically hardwood inside this formed channel, which is got all sorts of unusual curvature to it. And you can see that there. So yes, and interestingly, plastic edging trim, which I would have thought at 50 years old would have be very snappy. Obviously it's made out of one of the more flexible plastics. We've got a wooden channel along there, whatever that is, and our fold is a bit different there. These little fiberglass inserts you find all over the coach. They're basically here on the inside of the frame as well. Can't remember, there, hidden behind that trim. And the rubber is meant to sit over the top of this. And this rubber's in fairly decent nick, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. So this has got to come off. That's got to come off. Window's got to come out. Ooh, cigarette, anyone? And here is the beautiful mechanism. Needs a bit of a refresh, but it's all working. Some kind of striker mechanism there, and something else here which I presume is just like a strengthening plate to stop when you slam the door, stop it from pulling away the skin. But yeah, big old, I think that would have had a rubber on it there. And then let's have a look at the other side. And here's the other side. Still with original trim on it. Not too bad. Rubber's a little bit perished there. We can live with that. It's just not the same rubber as, oh, it is the same rubber as that. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's resurrectable. Big bugger. Right, so that glass pretty much fell out, which we don't want it doing on the M3. And yeah, definitely needs some work, doesn't it? But you can see why that edge has been pushed away there. So now I think let's get this laminate off and see what's behind that. Okay, there we go. Most of them just snapped off. Rusty little screws. Got some weird evidence of something there. Looks like a fabric more than a rubber. That looks like a rubber there. That is a rubber. So we need to make a note of that for afterwards. Definitely something more fabricy there on this edge, but I assume it would be traditionally the same as that. So that's obviously some kind of weather strip there. Anyway, we shall continue on. Here's our door check strap, whatever that is, that came off there. Screws on that side. Let's have a look. Oh no. Why isn't that coming off then? Oh, of course, door lock on the other side. Door lock is on the other side. That's what we need to look at. Okay, so I don't have the key for that, annoyingly. This appears, unless I'm mistaken, to be some kind of lock, or is that holding it onto the, maybe that's what secures it to the mechanism beneath. Either way, seized. Probably gonna have to drill it out, unless I can pick this, which I might be able to do. Yale TX98. Right, so I've tried undoing this and seeing whether that mechanism can be taken out on that side. Can't do it. So I'm actually going to take this pin out here. I'm going to drill it out. I'll just drill the rounded edge out, tap it through, and see if that allows me to get into there and do something with that. I'm not fussed if I have to replace that or that, it's not that hard. So there we go, pin drilled out, just about. I think it was just seized, that's why it wasn't coming up. But either way, I'd need to take it off to get these bolts, sorry, these screws out. And yes, this pin would have had to come out. Right, it really didn't want to come off, but I had to break it in the end. So this is the bit that was stopping it from coming out, which clearly has a screw top. Looks like it's had multiple pins in it at one time. Yeah, so that wouldn't come through that gap there. So I think this is a screw-in piece there, so I need to find another one of those. That's all good, that's fine. Mechanism works fine. This is a little bit bent, but that can be straightened out. This, I might see if I can get another one of those. The lock was snapped anyway, and I had to bugger it a bit to get it out. So we're on the hunt for one of these and one of those, maybe one of these. But this should enable us to take the skin off now. Okay, the lock is off, and this now is removed. It's actual real Formica. Lovely. No model number. About 6mm thick. What do we got here then? So that's either, sounds like galvanized steel to me, and it's not rusted, whereas everything else has. So I think that's galvanized, or it might be brass even. That's wood, steel, and I'm just looking for weld marks for this lip here, but can't quite work out what's what. That's the alley. So this lip, why would you make that out of steel? I guess it must be spot welded from that side or screwed on or something like that. The only way I'm going to find out is to take this off, which I'm not going to do today. I'll just have a little looky at it. Bit of a mess. Right, back here again. Got a bit of noise pollution. Oh, there you go, the cows. So I'm going to basically tap this edge around all the way up, and that one, and that one, and that one. And then with this just being rounded over onto the wood, I should be able to slide the whole thing that way. So we'll see what happens. It's very crusty. It may snap, but I think if I can do this one-handed, it does actually, oops, move. Just a little bit of gentle tapping and raising along, and we'll see what happens. So the lip is now off, most of it very crusty, so I think new skin is in order. I think that we're bonded onto a piece of wood behind here, and there may well be screws hidden behind this, so I'm going to have to pry this out and then see if there's screws behind there holding it in, just to be sure, because I don't want to bend the door skin or bend the trim if need be. Well, what do you know? Yes sir, there are screws. And the other one. Now, what I really don't understand is the Perry's coach was orange and white. I can even see the orange on some of the trim strips. Or am I making this up? I think I'm making it up and it will take too long to find, but there's bits of orange everywhere. But why is this coach white, blue and pale green? I mean, obviously it's previous colours, but that's primer, isn't it? There's a bit of orange there, and there's blue. So when did it stop being orange and then get painted white? And why would you paint it white when it looked quite nice already? There's some Perry's orange there. I'd love to know who did this and why, or what the original colour was. This life is all about tools. That's how we evolved. So I found this nice block of ash, and basically I'm just going along like that, slowly knocking it over the edge and not getting any nasty marks in it in the process. So I can feel it getting quite loose now, but I feel like I need to investigate how that's fixed to that. I think there's some pins, some panel pins there, look, there, there and there, so I need to get those out. Right, it is apparent that I'm also going to have to do this edge. I was hoping to leave that one and just tap it forward, but of course we've got the hinges, and the hinges are welded on, I would say. Big cast iron things usually, a little ball, self-adjusting effectively, so that the bottom hinge can have a bit of give in it. So yeah, this edge has got to come off too, but we're nearly done. All this sort of white crusty stuff coming out. I think that's some kind of 1972 grip fill, which I'm going to need to understand what that is. Oh, yes, and it's off. Okay. We have some mystery compound. God knows what that is. Probably highly toxic, as it's from 1972. We've got some, looks like a rubbery sort of cover on there. No, is that? Yes, it is steel. It is steel, but you can see there, look at that great big dip there. Oh dear. So I think this is all spot welded on. There's one there, look. Nothing to say it can't be riveted on or screwed on or drilled and tapped. It doesn't have to be spot welded. And here's my skin, which I now need to take great care not to damage, because it's very damageable now. Let's have a look under here. We've got a wooden block underneath there. That looks suspiciously like brass, or is it just this very well protected paint they've used? These look like they're an early injection mold. Oh, we've got a message here. 8407. Now, is that my body number? And that's written in marker pen. So we now know marker pens existed in 1972, not chalk or engineer's blue or stamping. And we also know primitive plastic was available. But again, it's not too bad. And what's this apparatus here? Some more wood there. Definitely going to be fairly easy to just patch this up and get the solid metal into it, and should be able to get a good template off this. There, for example, that whole edge is missing there. Fairly crusty, it's sort of turned to powder in many places. Edge is knackered there. We'll see. Right, I've got my overall measurements, and what I've done is drill holes, reference holes, wherever it's good. And the idea is that when I come to offer these back up again, it will be in the right distance away from the frame. And as I'm not really doing anything major to the frame, I don't think it's going to come out true. So yeah, all I need to do now is find a spot weld, get these off. And there we see, I need my spot weld removal drill bit to get these guys out, and then quite random, and then I can get this all off and then get and attack the door. So I think I'm going to leave that there for now. I had to effect a repair on a very rare beast, a Carmen Gypsy on Fiat, and we've got a fuel tank that's leaking, so that's taken up most of the afternoon. So I'll see you next time.